Well guys, things are starting to heat up, and we've been talking about Nintendo Directs all year. Trust me, I know, I hear you. And honestly, for the last couple of months, it hasn't necessarily felt like we needed one. Nintendo has been providing us updates on upcoming games like Yoshi and Splatoon. I mean, they even came out and announced a Star Fox Direct that dropped like 3 hours after its announcement. So there's absolutely no telling what Nintendo's gonna do. However, we finally have a rumor that could be very credible of a Direct coming up relatively soon. Now, before we get into that, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. I'm sure it's about to get crazy as we enter these summer months. We're also just 9,000 subscribers away from reaching our goal of 400K, so you guys can make that happen by leaving a like and subscribing. Let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this video if you guys are truly excited for an upcoming summer Nintendo Direct. But let's dive in. Before we get started, you see this? These are grains of salt. I feel like I'm now obligated to tell you guys this because you guys like to think I overhype things or say this is going to happen for sure. Take everything that I am saying in this video as a grain of salt. Absolutely nothing could happen. Absolutely everything could happen. Just keep that in mind as we go into this information. Today's rumor actually comes from somebody that used to be very reliable, and we haven't heard from him in a very long time. Jeff Grubb. He said that he's heard that a Nintendo Direct will happen by mid-June. He doesn't know what kind of Direct, but assumes it will be a full one, which would be a general. In fact, I have a clip for you from the Giant Bombcast podcast that he's on and the exact words that he said, so that way you can't be confused.
I'm with Mike, although, okay, so I'm hearing that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct by mid-June. That is, I think, you know, obviously there's been some scuttlebutt out there about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm hearing that we should get it by mid-June as well. It's just like that, like they might do like after SGF or around SGF. I don't know exactly. But I'm wondering, like, because I haven't been able to nail this down. I haven't heard that it's a full Nintendo Direct, but I would assume if they're doing it around SGF, that it would almost have to be.
Now, trust me, I know exactly what you're thinking. I am praying that this isn't another partner showcase. Nintendo has duped us over and over again with these things. I think we're all completely tired of them. And a lot of people just dismissed them in the past. But from what I've seen online, everybody's like, it better not be a partner showcase. And if anybody's like kind of skeptical, I still am. I still think Nintendo could just pull the cord on us and say, here's another partner Direct again. Now, what's funny about this is everybody always seems to just be perfectly fine and okay with it online. They're all like, oh, yeah, partner Direct, that's fine. Like, no, it's not. I feel like this time, if Nintendo made us wait from last September to all the way this June, and still, during the big summer month, did not give us a general Direct, but instead gave us a partner showcase, people would be so unbelievably angry, which they deserve the right to. But still, I'm not holding my breath. I still think there's a really good chance that Nintendo could screw us over with another partner. That's just me. If you couldn't tell, I have no faith in Nintendo right now. I'm sorry. Now, another quote-unquote insider commented on this and said, it's not a partner. I even thought that it might be the case to happen before, but for June itself, nothing is mentioned about. Now, this is translating from Spanish, so it's a little wonky, but he's essentially saying no. He fully believes that this is not a partner, and doesn't even say believe. He goes on to say he knows it's not a partner. He claims, this is my information, neither rumor nor guesswork, so if it turns out otherwise, I'm fair game for a stoning. So Necro Felipe has been a little all over the place when it comes to leaks and rumors. He's gotten a lot of things right, but gotten a lot of things wrong as well, so it's really like a 50-50 coin flip for him, but him chiming in on Jeff Grubb, which normally gets things right in the industry as a whole, not just Nintendo leaks, this is looking pretty likely. Now, I know the one tweet that you guys are looking for is Nate the Hate, and he actually chimed in on this, saying, I'll give an update later this week, which is pretty interesting, so we might have to circle back around with yet again another Nintendo Direct video if he has something really significant to say. Now, what makes these rumors actually pretty silly is Nate the Hate actually said this months ago, when he called pretty much everything that's happened so far. Splatoon Raiders launching this summer, a brand new Star Fox game being announced and dropping this summer, which everything's been happening so far. So Nate knows his information, and it's almost always 100% correct. And a couple of months ago, he said he didn't hear anything about an upcoming general Nintendo Direct, until the end of May, beginning of June. And it seems like that was at the earliest. So this is starting to line up with information that he's given us already. Now, I've already seen people online saying, this isn't any information. Of course we're getting a Direct in June. We always get a Direct in June. For one, that's not the case. In the last 5 years, there were 2 Junes where we did not get a show. And on top of that, Nintendo's in a weird era right now. I mean, they've been skipping general Directs and just doing their own thing, having shadow drops and random Directs that just air 3 hours after announcements. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird time to ever say Nintendo's guaranteed to do a Direct this summer. They're absolutely not. And that's why I'm still a little bit iffy on this is going to be a general Direct or not, because it feels like it could be a partner. Nintendo does have games listed all the way up until the end of July. I mean, this month they have Yoshi, which is literally tomorrow. For June, they have Star Fox. For July, they have Splatoon Raiders and Rhythm Heaven Groove. And Nate already said that Fire Emblem would be this summer, so that seems like an August game to me. So technically, they could easily wait until September just to have another batch of games announced there. So that's why I said take this information with a grain of salt, because it still sounds sketchy to me. But let's say they actually do have a general Direct in June. Would it even be worth it? I mean, this is a show where they could actually have tons of interesting content and not just filler, where they can both show us new games and give us tons of information on games that are already announced. Splatoon Raiders only got one short overview trailer so far, so it's definitely in need for a new one. They could give Rhythm Heaven Groove just a super small segment, like a minute tops. It's just a little Switch 1 game. I love Rhythm Heaven, so literally a minute is all I need. I don't need to see every minigame, just give me a good glimpse of a good chunk of them and some of the music, and I'll be good to go there. I mean, we've really only gotten a small handful of clips of some of the minigames, and then they just dropped one minigame trailer, just her cooking. Star Fox comes out at the very end of June, on June 25th, so it definitely would fit a time slot to be in a Nintendo Direct. I mean, the website still says there's some stuff they haven't showed us yet, so just another small segment showing off that extra stuff for this game would be cool. And then I could easily see them having a middle of the show segment dedicated to Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, where they spend around 5 to 10 minutes just digging into the game, showing us what makes this game unique and different from the past ones. That then leaves the entire rest of the show for new announcements, like maybe even a Zelda anniversary celebration, which I'm sure they're going to have some sort of segment in the beginning or the end of the Direct, where they'll probably show off Ocarina of Time Remake. This is a game that's been leaked by Nin10doland, so it's pretty much all but confirmed, I think, at this point, because it's also been rumored by almost everyone else. So I would say this is going to be one of their big holiday games. Now, the Zelda remake is huge, but I'm still expecting there to be at least one more big holiday game that comes out alongside of it. Something's still telling me Luigi's Mansion 4 is possible here, but I don't know anymore at this point. Plus some other new announcements that are a little smaller scale, like Nate still said that there's going to be some Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition announced here soon, and also something with Switch Sports, whether it's a Switch 2 edition of the first game or a new game entirely, which is something they can also easily throw in a bunch of headlines in the next Nintendo Direct. And I feel like now the whole world is starting to lose their mind like me now, where I see everyone online saying, okay, this 3D Mario's got to be announced here, right? I'm still not buying it, but at the same time, I do feel like this is where Nintendo needs to show off their next major title and at least get the anticipation and hype built up for it. If it is 3D Mario, which it should be, and it should probably launch sometime next year. Once again, Nin10doland did say that it was supposed to be this holiday but got delayed internally apparently, so that would mean probably beginning or middle of next year. So yeah, show us this game, give us a reveal trailer, let us start building some hype for it. This is the big summer showcase, the June Nintendo Direct. This is where you have announcements like this, so I'd actually be shocked if it's not at least something like 3D Mario, Smash Brothers, something big enough to really get people talking. Something else that's also interesting is Nintendo announced that they would be at Gamescom this year, which is not a guarantee for them every year, normally only when they have a lot to show, and the fact that Gamescom announced Nintendo as their first partner to be announced coming to Gamescom, which is a little strange. Nintendo just jumped the gun and said, yep, we'll be there this year. So I don't know. I never think this means anything. I mean, there's been some Gamescoms where they were pretty whack and there wasn't anything super exciting. This was their Gamescom last year, which made so much sense. It was the launch of Switch 2. You had Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, Metroid Prime 4, even though that game sucked. So who knows? Maybe Nintendo has some hidden bangers that they're ready to show off, or maybe they're just gonna be like, hey, you can come play Star Fox, Splatoon Raiders, and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. And that's it. Now, like I said before, Nintendo doesn't always do a summer direct, but the last couple of years that they have, they've always done around the middle of June, that second or third week. In 2024, it was June 18th, which was on a Tuesday, and in 2023, it was June 21st on a Wednesday. Now, even back during E3 days, I can't believe that sounds ancient now, it's insane, but Nintendo would always go last because everybody else would have their presentations before Nintendo. They wanted to be like, I guess, best as last. Same thing is happening this year, looks like. Sony is having a State of Play on June 2nd, Summer Game Fest is June 5th, Future Game Show is June 6th, Xbox Game Show plus Gears of War E-Day Direct is June 7th, and then obviously you got Gamescom in August and Tokyo Game Show in September. Now, technically, that could give us about a 9-day window as to where this could occur, because I'd say probably from the 9th to the 25th are all good dates, specifically Tuesday through Thursdays when Nintendo has their shows. I'm gonna break it down even more to about 6 days because Nintendo never really has E3 Directs or summer showcases at the end of the week because they normally like to follow up the next 2 to 3 days with Nintendo Treehouse events. So I'm saying Tuesday or Wednesday makes the most sense. Break it down a little bit more, I feel like these 4 days are the most realistic. I feel like Nintendo still wants to move out of those first 2 weeks and not deal with anybody else that could be having presentations in the beginning of the month. So if we do, and that's a big if we get a general direct, I feel like these 4 days are the most likely. If I had to just throw a pin at one of these days, I'll say, why not Wednesday the 17th? Now, I cannot stress this enough, at the moment this isn't confirmed, but I'll tell you right now, if Nate the Hate comes out later on this week and says he knows for sure when it's going to happen, or at least the time frame, then I'll go ahead and say, yep, it's confirmed. Now, even though Nate knows his information really well, sometimes he messes up on the announcement date and stuff, and he already said he'll never talk about an announcement date again because of the flack that people gave him. Oh, because he was a week off with the announcement, even though the game still was coming this summer and he knew a freaking Star Fox game was coming. Like, people are so ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think he's going to give us an exact time frame, but what he'll probably just say is either yes, it's happening in June, no, it's not happening in June, or if it's going to be a general or a partner or not. And I think that alone can be enough to get us happy and excited for this summer. But what do you guys think? Are we actually finally going to get a general Nintendo Direct? It's been since last September. Everybody is starving, and if we do, what are you excited to see in this show? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you guys.